Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another Top Cut breakdown video. We are 2 weeks into the brand new Zenkai series, so we have lots of data we want to cover. The format is still shaping itself, things are still being figured out, and today we have 3 events to talk about, one of which is the San Diego Regional that took place over the weekend from Core TCG, and we also have 2 European events to cover. So with that being said, we will get into it, but first, if you are new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video, and if you guys want to help support the channel, there are tons of ways to do so down in the description. But since we're talking about competitive events, check out the Patreon down in the description if you want to step your game up and get ready for some of these competitive events. I actually have an article from yesterday that's going to help you guys kind of learn how to use Zenkai to the best advantage that you can, as well as avoid some pitfalls and traps that you might fall into since Zenkai is so new for everyone. But anyways, let's jump right into things. First, we will start with the San Diego Regional. So I will just let you guys know that I do have all the deck lists down in the description, courtesy of Eggman. So shout out to him for that, for compiling those. Yes, we have the San Diego Regional. We have 149 players. Our biggest event in a little while now, which is pretty awesome. California always has pretty good turnout. 7 rounds, best of 1 pre-side, and here we have the top 16. So we have SS3 Reboot winning back-to-back American regionals, which is kind of wild. SS3 Reboot, at least for like my team's testing, and I think this speaks true to a fair amount of players, it's one of those blue leaders that you always kind of go to when new good generic blue stuff comes out, because you get that 3 free energy back every single turn, so it just seems like you can throw all the best generic blue stuff in it and play really good value defense. It hasn't really done all that hot in previous formats, but this format, man, SS3 Reboot is starting off really strong, and I think I've talked about it a couple times, but one of the main reasons that's going to be the case is because you get that 3 free energy back every single turn, and that leaves you wide open for Dirty Burst, which is very good against the top 2 red decks, which happen to take up the majority of this top 16. We have 5 SS4 Gogeta and 3 red Sin Shenron. Now we have SS4 kind of flip-flopping over Sin, where it's taking the most spots in Top Cut, where last week I'm pretty sure it was Sin taking the most spots in the American Top Cut by a pretty vast majority. But if you guys remember the Spanish regional from last weekend, SS4 Gogeta was the vast majority of Top Cut. So maybe that's the trend we'll start to see going forward. We have some more data from these other events that is going to kind of allow us to make more inferences. But yeah, man, Red, even though it hasn't won an American Regional yet, is still taking up a huge percent of Top Cut. And this is kind of interesting because going back to the previous 2 formats, Ultimate Squad Realm of the Gods, U7 Goku, of course, won its fair share of regionals, but it was also just super prevalent in a lot of Top Cuts. I mean, more so towards the end of Ultimate Squad, that wasn't necessarily the case, but at least the beginning of Realm of the God and the beginning of Ultimate Squad, U7 Goku was a big majority of every Top Cut. So maybe that just speaks to something about Red, where it's a really good kind of just general use color, where a lot of players can pick it up and, you know, squeak in a Top Cut with it. But as far as the core event goes, it didn't even crack the top 4, speaking on Red, which is definitely pretty interesting. Red was blue and yellow as far as I'm aware, and yeah, real interesting. Then we have 2 Goku Ramp Reboot. Shout out to Brian Samuel for kind of showing me some cool things this deck can do. I don't really know how I feel about it in terms of the top ranking blue decks, because you have to see Zeno Super Combo to effectively actually ramp, and if you ever have an unlucky game where you don't see your super combos, I can see that being pretty rough. I don't know if this stacks up to like SS4 Vegeta, for example, because both decks have ways of having their ramp interrupted, and I guess you're kind of just taking the lesser of 2 evils and which one you feel more comfortable with. But if you are able to see those Zeno Super combos and turn those tap Beeruses into actual ramped energy, that does seem pretty strong, especially considering the leader being like a 25k double strike crit once you're Z-Awaken. That is pretty cool. Then we have Yellow Kid Goku Reboot taking a spot. I believe this one got 3rd place, and I'm super happy about it, guys. I mean, I've talked about it a lot. I love this deck. I have a build on the Patreon. I talked about it in yesterday's video. I think this deck is very good. It's actually capable of being rather aggressive, which I think is pretty important in this format. I don't think you can play just like a sit back, do nothing deck, almost like Trunks Vegeta can be in some cases. I don't think you can play a deck like that unless you're playing blue. If you're playing any other color right now, it kind of feels like you have to be proactive. One, in terms of like being able to remove things off the board, which Kid Goku's really good at. Yellow Trunks is also fine at that, don't get me wrong. But Kid Goku also excels in the aggressive department because you have the cards that can attack, like the Kid Gokus that can attack either dual attack, or you have Explosive Spirit, which can attack and then restand for a blocker. So that's real good there. Android 16, shout out to Jared Lopez. He's back on Android 16 after playing Gamma last format. So I guess he must see something interesting in Android 16 this meta. That must just be the whole Zenkai thing where you can combo from the drop, put in your Z energy, play some powerful blue Z battle cards. Then we have Pan Reboot. Shout out to Tim Palacios, the guy who's just played Pan forever. It's pretty cool to see that he's back on Pan here. And I've talked about it too, man. Pan has so many value battle cards. The cards they printed for Pan purely are just insane 1 cost or even 0 cost battle cards. Like, the deck is just full of value. I still think it's slightly outclassed by SS4 Gogeta and Red Sin in terms of power, but it is a really solid red leader. Green King Piccolo, again, my opinion, best green deck in the game at the moment. Maybe we'll see Gotenks do some things here and there, but I think Gotenks is going to suffer from consistency issues where I will admit Gotenks can probably do more powerful things, but King Piccolo is very consistent, very swarmy. And then we have a red-green launch rounding out this top 16. I just got done talking about launch in yesterday's video where I thought it would have to adopt more of like a blue shell, because then that type of deck could possibly sit back, use Dirty Burst, and Arrival things. But this is a more aggressive version of a launch, playing red-green. We haven't seen red-green launch top an event in quite some time. This is the same red-green launch you would probably remember if you've been playing for several formats. It's just abusing the classic 2-drop red-green Piccolo Eradicator of Peace. So another aggressive deck. If we do look through this, everything is rather aggressive except for the blue decks. So that just might be the dynamic that's kind of shaping the format right now. Play blue and sit back, or play something else, probably red, and put your foot on the gas. So with that being said, let's move on into another European event. So this was done really well by the Lookout. Shout out to you, man. If you have more info, more links you want to drop, please do feel free to drop them down in the comments of this video. I'll even pin them for you. I really appreciate when people take the time to do these really good kind of graphics. Makes my job a whole lot easier, and it makes the viewing experience a lot easier. So this was a Zenkai Showdown. I'm pretty sure this was not a Bandai sanctioned event. I also don't know how many players there were, but again, there's more information on the Lookout's Facebook page, so again, feel free to link that, my man. But yeah, so we have first place, Red Sin, and just from the pie chart, you can see that Red took half of this top 16, which is what we've been seeing for the past several weeks. We have some really cool outliers, though. One Gamma, kind of expected at this point, but one Broly BR is a really cool red outlier. Definitely more of like a glass cannon aggro than Sin or SS4 Gogeta. SS4 Gogeta and Sin have a lot of good defensive things going their way. Like, for one, they don't have to burn all their life to be super aggressive like Red Broly BR, but Red Broly BR can still shine in some cases. You have the really powerful plays with the Piccolo Jr. Unison, so that's a thing. Then we have Black Sin Xeno. Mill is in sort of an interesting spot because both these decks, Gogeta and Sin, do draw a heck of a lot. They also thin their deck out a whole lot, so playing Mill is kind of interesting in this meta. Then we have Master Roshi. Honestly, this is not a deck that I think will shine in this meta, so kudos to this player for topping with it. I think Roshi is actually more well positioned if blue starts to dominate more and more, because the Piccolo and Goku Fated Rivals combo is very, very good at dealing with unisons like that. But yeah, while this one manages to squeak in, I don't quite think it's the format for it. Then we have a U7. So we haven't seen much U7 over the past several weeks. And to be honest with you, it's probably just an outclassed red deck at this point. Like, I think U7 is still a fine deck, don't get me wrong. None of the cards got hit. The cards in the deck are still powerful, but SS4 Gogeta and Sin seem to be outclassing it. Then another Kid Goku reboot, love to see it. One Hirudegarn, probably playing Andrew Duvall's new card that helps you ramp and play Hirudegarns out of your hand. Now, I really do like the concept of this deck. My one fear with it is that you can't really self-awaken without playing a ton of main deck cards, because let's just say your opponent is playing Super Stally with you, one or two Vegeta surmounting the Impossibles in your Z deck is not really going to cut it. But with so much red being in the meta, getting awakened is not really that much of a problem, so that's a cool thing this deck has going for it. And then Golden Frieza, kind of a similar thing where you can kind of rely on your opponent to awaken you, and if you can manage the entire shenanigans between the 1-drops and the unisons and the bombs, you can do pretty well here. So pretty cool top cut here. We do have one more event to talk about. All right, guys, we have another event incoming from Spain, another non-official Bandai event. It seems like Europe is doing a great job of sanctioning their own events, which huge kudos to you guys out there, man. That is so awesome. So let's take a look at this data here. So as far as I'm aware, this is for the entire event's participation, and 50% of the room was red. That's pretty crazy. As far as like a total leader breakdown, the two most popular decks by far, by real far, are SS4 Gogeta and Red Sin. Man, these decks, people must perceive them to be the best decks in the game, because how else can you get so much participation? And I really don't fault them for that. I do think the best deck in the format is a toss-up between SS4 Gogeta and Sin Shenron, and I will still kind of stick to that, even though SS3 Reboot has won back-to-back American events. Like, yeah, just because the best deck doesn't win doesn't mean it's not the best deck. You might just be building your deck or playing the deck that counters the best deck. That's all well and good, and that can lead to big results. But with this much representation and this much power, these decks are serious contenders. So looks like this event was about like 60-70 players, just from doing some quick math here on the total decks. Let's move down to the top 16. We have so much Gogeta and so much Red Sin. Kind of working up from the bottom here, we have one more Sin Xeno. So we saw Sin Xeno top both this event and the other European event. That's pretty cool. Skipping past all the stuff we've seen already, we have a Gamma. So Gamma making its name known from event to event here and there. And then we have one SS4 Vegeta ramp. Let's take a look at this one real quick, because why not? I haven't really gotten a chance to look at an SS4 Vegeta ramp deck in this format. So playing Senzu Bean I think is really important right now, because you're playing against a lot of aggressive red decks. Last format you didn't actually need Senzu Bean SS4 Vegeta, but this format you probably do. Then we have some pretty standard stuff in the first line. One copy of Master Roshi Maximum Muscle. Just a cool boss monster tech you can include. Moving along here though, looks pretty similar. Of course, the new inclusion of SS Goku and Otherworld Blitz. And then we have the Kaioken Goku United Divinity. This is definitely hands down probably the best deck for this SCR, because if you can get to, you know, 8 or more energy, untapping all of that is going to give this card more value than Baby Hatch, most likely. But even on the flip side, if you need more stuff to stop your opponent's crazy onslaught with all these red decks, you might need Baby Hatch. So there's a legitimate argument to be had there for sure. But overall, guys, that's the data from these 3 events. And I don't think I mentioned that the Spain events, the link is going to be down in the description as well. So I've got the links for Core, for Spain, and then I hope that the Lookout does comment down below with some of his links. That would be awesome. But I'm glad to kind of compile all this data for you guys from different events. Hopefully you guys can make some informed decisions about this stuff. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.